Hey everybody, so a little bit of change of pace today and we're covering off the patch notes for today's Xbox patch for Black Desert. Now there have been a couple of little additions to the game that are welcome and have changed the way that we can acquire a couple things, and also an interesting change to the trash loot for fishing. But let's take a look through these notes, and as always, if you want to read through them yourself, the description will have the link through to the console.play.blackdesert.com website where you can read through all of this information, because there will be bits that I skip over. So first of all, we have the new guild boss, the Ahib Griffon. Now the Griffon Boss is an interesting addition because the drops from this boss are actually highly sought after. Things like the Griffon's helmet, along with Jin, Bon and 1 magic crystals. These are really valuable items that are definitely worth getting your hands on. This is going to revigorate the fact that guilds are going to be looking to do guild bosses again if they have stopped doing them previously, as before this we weren't really profiting as much as we can do now. So I would expect to see that guilds are going to be flocking to have a look at doing this guild boss if they don't already have their Griffon's helmet and they're looking to have a chance at picking that one up. Overall, it's a pretty interesting fight. It's a little bit different to the other guild boss summons, so it's definitely worth having a look at. If you haven't done it before and you're completely new to Black Desert, then it's an interesting little more mechanical fight than the other bosses, shall we say, just because there are things like the Legion of the Ganel that are going to come and help you throughout the fight. If their health does drop, then things like the Ganel will exit the battlefield to recoup, so it's just a little bit of a more thought out aspect, and at least in my opinion it's a little bit more of a throwback to PvE encounters of other MMOs, which could indicate that in the future there will be more of a PvE side to the game. I know that there definitely are things being added to the PC version that will filter through to both the Xbox and the PS4 version of the game in time. Now another thing that's been added today are the Forest Path Wagons. There is a link through to a full page where they give information on how to craft these and what you'll need to do, or the steps you'll need to take to be able to craft the Forest Path Wagons. Now basically they're just bigger, faster wagons than currently available. These are great when it comes to trading, especially if you're somebody that's looking to make full use of trading with the Valencia Desert buff and doing those max distance trades. So the Forest Path Wagons are something that are a welcome addition to the game. However, they're not a huge addition. There will be people that benefit from these, and it could be worth looking at crafting to sell on the marketplace to pick up a little bit of extra income. There are a couple of people that will have been planning in advance for things like this, so there'll be a stockpile of materials. And overall, I would expect to see a little bit of a shift on the marketplace when it comes to crafting materials for things like this. Keeping that in mind, it's always worth having a look at what's available on PC, what's not currently available on Xbox and PS4, and potentially planning for ways to make money once those additional items, craftables and drops are added to the game. Another nice addition is the Awakened Chemists bosses. So these are the Mantram Chief, King of Navarra Steppe, the Forest Renaros and the Giffin Razia Raid Captain. All of these are now available, so you can collect your daily and your weekly boss scrolls. You can select the Awakened scrolls for these bosses, and you need 3 Awakened Summoning Scroll pieces or 5 daily Awakened Summoning Scroll pieces to create these scrolls, and it just adds another additional bunch of bosses that are available now through the Awakened scrolls thanks to the Camisilvian region. This is going to help you to have more choice when you've already got things like your Beg's gloves, you've got your Dimtri armors, things like that, so you're not necessarily going to be running the same bosses over and over again. It just gives you something else to do. It gives you another use for all of your weeklies, your daily stuff. So definitely something worth having a look at. Now the Velia Wharf revamp, this was a little bit of a strange one, but basically they've just altered and amended the Velia Wharf. So the new wharf is ready and will be revealed. There's a new tavern, it's a Dancing Marlin that's been added, and the wharf manager has also been moved to the new wharf. Nothing huge, but it's an interesting change to Velia, and it just changes the landscape a little bit, so that's interesting. Now the biggest or most interesting thing that I've seen in this update, other than obviously the guild boss summon, is the item changes to the trash that drops with fishing. Now this is really interesting, because ultimately we all know that the delete trash items hasn't been working properly, along with the issues with sorting the correct grade of fish whenever you've been fishing. So the developers have basically taken a look at this and went, right, we can look to fix this and give a checkbox again that allows you to automatically disregard these items, or alternatively we can just give you an exchange instead. I for one think the exchange is fantastic. It's a really good idea for this, and it's going to give some of these trash items that otherwise were just vended or deleted some actual genuine value. Now, the most interesting ones are probably the broken trade boxes and the fertilizer sacks, both of which are going to give contribution experience. This just means that fishing also has a real impact on your contribution points from an early point of view. I don't see there being enough trash for it to be a massive benefit in the long run. However, it is interesting to see that they've added contribution experience to fishing, and this could be something that escalates or grows further into the game with other aspects of trash as well. Then we've got the torn sail piece and the torn net. These are going to give fishing experience. And then we have the rusty anchor and the snapped rope, both of which are just going to be given a value of 3,000 silver. I do like this little tagline at the bottom of the table that says they'll be adding other trash item exchange items in the future, so stay tuned. This means that they're genuinely looking to add other mechanics to the game that make trash a little bit more valuable. This is going to be great for people that do life skills overall. People aren't just looking to grind continuously for money. I'm definitely somebody that advocates having more of these exchanges in the game. I think having multiple ways to grow your character, multiple ways to earn things like contribution experience and income from trash sales is definitely a valuable thing for AFK players. And I don't have as much time as I'd like to play anymore, so having these extra avenues when I'm AFK fishing overnight, for example, or if I'm looking to life skill when I do have a couple of hours but it's going to be broken up, so maybe an hour, then a gap of 2 or 3 hours, and then another hour, it allows me to benefit from the life skill mechanics, and changes like this are going to be huge for me. Now there are some mount changes as well, so when you're remotely collecting your mount in the desert, it's now either going to be sent to Valencia City or to Murican, depending on if your current karma is positive or negative. So it does start from -1 or lower, that it's going to go to the Murican, or however you say it, basically the bandit outpost. If you are positive, 0 or positive, it's going to go over to the Valencia City. This just makes it easier for you to recover your horses, and you don't need to worry about being in the bandit camp. It's going to allow you to do that. Now it's worth noting that any mounts that are currently stabled in the bandit camp will be moved to the stables in Valencia. So that'll be where your horses are if you're thinking they might have gone missing or they've gone rogue for a little bit. Now there were some continued balance changes as well. These aren't huge, but they are worth having a look at and touching on, especially when we're getting to this point in balance now. Although they're mostly skill fixes, they're looking to consistently keep the damage there. I always find the balance changes and the skill changes quite interesting, especially if they're independent of the PC client. This shows that there is avenues to change things and alter things based off how the current game is playing on console, and it doesn't necessarily have to follow suit with the PC version. This is definitely an interesting thing because a lot of the classes play slightly different or have some significant changes when compared to their PC counterparts. Not having the ability to click to move is huge for some classes, and also not being able to flip cameras as quickly as you can on the PC or adjust things as quickly, again, is something that is huge on the console and alters some of the classes. Things like the Archer, Sorceress and Musa all struggle with the fact that their change of direction and their camera movement isn't as quick and isn't as smooth as it could be. But anyway, things like the Ranger fix, so fixing issues where absolute descending current was learned, the first shot of ultimate descending current would not fire. Obviously this is huge, that definitely needs fixing. Similar to the last hit on Zerka's skills not landing a couple of patches ago, it's good that this is being fixed. It's a shame that it was something that did make it into the game though. There is also the fix that's making or fixing the issue where Ride in the Wind would trigger first instead of ultimate evasive shot and extreme charging wind. This was only situational, but it's good that that has been fixed. I know a lot of people were complaining about this from rangers that I've talked to personally. It might not have affected you, but it definitely has affected them. Now fixes to the Archer, so the recovery effect of Exhale wasn't applying during world boss fights. A little bit of a strange interaction on why that wasn't applying, but it is good to see that that's now fixed. And it's also, they fixed the issue where your allies' processing would be cancelled when using Exhale with the Great Bow. Again, another really strange interaction, but it is good to have that fixed. just because it's more of an annoyance than anything else. Now there are some fixes to Shy. I'm not going to cover these ones because, to be completely honest, I don't understand a lot about Shy, so I wouldn't know how these affect the class overall. I would say though, if you go over to the website, you'll be able to check out this and check out all of the changes into the game. There are a couple of other things. So in the central market, the maximum price jump has been decreased from 10% down to 7.5%. That's an interesting change that's going to stabilise the market somewhat. And weapons and armors from plus 13 to plus 15 enhancement levels are now grouped together on the central market. This is essentially going to improve the ability to pick up plus 15 items. Although it doesn't have a huge impact for people that are currently working on Tet and Pen gear, it does allow people to essentially pick up these items when they're leveling or leveling through the process. It allows things to be grouped together a little bit more easier. It cleans up the market and it gets rid of some of those 13 and 14 items that people aren't necessarily looking to buy that were currently available and cluttering up the marketplace. And then, as always, there have been some server optimization functions added during world boss periods. Due to this, you'll feel less delay on actions when fighting against world bosses. This is an interesting fix, and it's definitely something that I'm happy to see they are making continued performance changes with the game. Anyway, that covers off all of the patch notes. As I said, these will be in the description in the bottom of this video, so if you do want to go and have a look at these and have a look at the details for the forest wagon and how to craft that, you can go ahead and do that. As always guys, thanks for watching. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and I will catch you in the next one.